Hey guys, it is Monday, June 29th, and day number 106. So, a couple things to get out there real quick. I'm going to try and cut down on the length of videos in the time that I'm going to spend talking so that you guys can see the things you want to see and you can see them where you want to see them. So, the new format that's going to be coming out is going to be a quick introduction, very quick. So, excuse my lack of conversational dad jokes at the beginning. I'm gonna identify the workout in another short, quick video, show you the movement quickly, and then roll on to the credits, so to speak, at the end, in which it'll be followed by the modifications and stuff like that. I'm gonna try and find a way to group a larger explanation and modification more towards the end. So if you guys don't need that, you don't have to keep watching that. Whereas on the other hand, if you do need that, you know how to fast forward to it or something along those lines, right? Some coaching points, because I want to put the coaching stuff out there for the people that need it, but not everybody necessarily needs it for a lot of these workouts. Now, having said that, today is going to be a little bit longer video pieces. I'm going to do a decent amount of demonstrating. There is some pieces in the recovery that I'm going to demonstrate, and there is some pieces in the strength that I'm going to demonstrate multiple ways to do it, as opposed to giving you modifications at the end, because it's something that's kind of challenging for most people to do. Not everybody has the right kind of equipment. So let me explain real quick what we're going to do, and then I will walk you guys through the strength, walk you through the workout. The strength will also have modifications, and then a recovery piece, and then after the credits, I will show you the modifications for the workout. So strength is going to be 3 total rounds. We are going to do a max effort, actually 1 rep short of a max effort set of upright rows. It's going to be a 2-handed upright row as opposed to one and then the other. Again, I want you to not get that failure rep. So the non-sloppy rep that you're going to have at the end there. Think of it like if you guys have had me in class when I say I don't want you to fail a handstand push-up until the end of the workout. That kind of idea, meaning if you're about to do a rep that's 50-50 in your head, don't do that rep, put it down, and then pick up that rep on the next round. All right, we're gonna superset that, with Ys. So a lift, kind of like an external rotation, if you will. Just working some different muscles around, down, kind of pulling through the under back side of the shoulder there. I'm also going to take a second or two to demonstrate how I want you to think of that function and the sort of raising of the arm there, if you will. The workout is going to be 4 rounds. You're going to do 10 dumbbell hang power, clean, and jerks, or push press, whatever they end up being. On the right side, RX weight as prescribed is 50 for the guys, 35 for the ladies. Again, that's a dumbbell, so 50-pound, 35-pound dumbbell. And as you finish that 10th jerk, you're then going to walk 50 feet down, 50 feet back with it overhead. The goal is not to bring it down, right? So that 10th jerk needs to be good enough that you don't have to drop your arm or you don't lose your balance and stability as you're traveling down and back. Then obviously we're going to switch to the left side, 10 dumbbell hang, power, clean, and jerks into the 100-foot carry down and back. Again, that's 4 rounds. So 4 rounds each side. All right, and it is for time. Now, the recovery stuff that I'm going to go over is going to be a side-lying external rotation. So if you guys know how to do that, especially if you've been in class with me, you definitely know how to do that. All's good. Otherwise, stick around, and I will get into this stuff more thoroughly out in the garage gym. All right, guys, so let's go through the strength stuff for today, the upright rows, and then the Ys as well. And I'm going to give you a bunch of different ways to do the Ys. So, upright row, important things to remember. This is a strength movement, not a workout movement, so to speak. So I'm not looking for the hips here. Hands close together, inside of shoulders, probably. This is really just a flexibility thing. I want you guys focusing on leading with the elbows. Remember, it is a upright row, It is not an upright and back row, okay? So vertical movement, most of you probably are gonna feel the traps as well as the outside, that lateral part of the shoulder, flexing and sweeping up, okay? Also keep in mind, super easy for us to do this with and especially this context of max effort, with a band or a dumbbell or kettlebell as well. A lot of times people are even better at it with a band because of the ability to let your hands move around a little bit when they're not stuck on the bar. Now, to the whys. So, if we have light dumbbells or small plates, what I'm looking for here is for you to get into a hinged position and work through your whys that way. Essentially, what's happening here, or how I want you to think about it, is let's say we have a pulley system attached to our shoulder, right? So obviously the band's gonna be on the front side here, but what I want you to focus on is the band on the back. So pretend this band is attached to the top front part of my shoulder. As I pull that band down, my shoulder or arm essentially lifts up and tips at the shoulder, right? Almost like a set of blinds on the window. Pulling it down, it raises up, and then as I let it go, it comes back down, right? So essentially when we're doing the Y, I want you to focus on the muscles on the back, raising but pulling down. That'll keep us from leaning forward, from kind of lurching into it a little bit, and from allowing or keeping us from losing our posture as we're in that hinged over position. The second thing I want you to think about is I want the hands rotated so that the thumbs are facing up or up and back if that's how you're going to think about it. Obviously if we're holding on to something, it's a little easier to make sure rotated palms facing each other, but even if it's a band or something along those lines, or you have no weight, which I'll talk about here in a second, think about leading or aiming with the thumbs. Now, what should that Y look like? A lot of times it's difficult for people to be able to tell if I'm here, if I'm here, if I'm here, or honestly even if I'm below parallel. I want you guys to aim for 45 degrees diagonal up and out, okay? If we get in a little bit or if we get out a little bit, which is probably going to happen, especially over the course of the reps, that's fine, but we're still within the range where we're getting the maximum tilt. Now, a lot of us may not have strong enough muscles to do this with very much weight at all, meaning a 2.5 pound plate might be plenty in each hand to get you in that 8 to 12 rep range. Some of us might not even need weight at all, depending on how we set this up. So I demonstrated the hinged over Y position. Another thing you guys can do is lay on the edge of a bench and hit a prone Y position. From there, we can, if you have bands, change the camera here. If you have bands or a crossover symmetry, you can always take the handles and work through the Ys with the bands and the handles. Okay, so it doesn't need to be something heavy. Chances are, if this is difficult for you, you can probably pick up 2 full beers. Bottles may be a little bit heavier than cans, go with those. And that is plenty weight for you to slowly in controlled manner go through your sets of Ys, especially if they're right after the upright rows. As they're programmed, there's already gonna be a little bit of fatigue in the shoulder. Stick around, I'm gonna go over the workout and talk about workout modifications. All right, so for the workout, 4 rounds, 10 dumbbell hang power clean and jerks, 100 foot, so 50 down, 50 back on an overhead carry, or if you guys have 100 feet marked out, you can do your left arm at the other end, right arm at this end. All right, so from the hang with a single dumbbell, I want you guys focusing on having it in between the hips, all right? Therefore, if you have a kettlebell, you can always let the kettlebell swing.
technically the dumbbell can swing, but technically you know smash between your legs if you're not careful with it because it sticks up a little bit more with the wrist. So hang power clean right up overhead for the jerk. The goal here is that fluid transition hip to hip, right? So even though it's a jerk going overhead, even though the shoulder's there, it's still predominantly a hip movement in terms of what's doing the work. All right, so once we have that 10th one overhead, I'm going to position it, whether it's palm forward, palm to the side, or somewhere in between for the most stable vertical step position. And I'm going to walk 100 feet until I have to switch to the next arm. Modifications coming up. So for modifying the workout, we talked about dumbbells, kettlebells, right? They can both be done the same way, end up being the exact same thing. If all we have is a barbell, probably gonna go with an above the knee, right? It can be a hang power snatch, or it can be a hang power clean and jerk, right? Depending on the weight you have. If the weight is super light, like you guys only have a bar, then feel free to transition to the hang power snatch if you want, but also don't be afraid to keep it at 8 full rounds for each side since we're doing a bilateral movement, okay? That's also gonna give you a lot more overhead carry, which will probably make up for the lighter weights in the end. Now, what happens if I don't have a bar? I just have a band. The banded hang power clean and jerk is probably way more effective than you might realize. Right? Just like working through an upright row and a strict press, or working through a power snatch or a muscle snatch with the band. The idea is the same. Bilaterally, probably a lot easier than unilaterally, although it can be done, right? Especially if we need to try and work through an imbalance and build one up. Now, having said that, it works for that movement, but it does not work for the carry. So, in that circumstance, you're probably going to end up carrying something else overhead, whether it's a book bag, maybe a full laundry detergent container, whatever it is. All we're going to do is simply take that weight, take that apparatus, press it up overhead, and walk with it. This vest is 20 pounds. This is not going to be any easier than a 20-pound dumbbell. If anything, it's going to be harder because it's going to move around a little bit more, thus probably putting it in the difficulty realm of about a 25 or 30-pound dumbbell. All right. If you guys have any questions, post a message, let me know. Happy to help you out and get some creativity and to help you guys get the workouts done